Why do you need to build your intelligence when there's artificial intelligence? Welcome to Sharpening Arrows, where we train teens to think biblically about life and politics. I'm your host, Victor Jakes. Well, just to follow up on something I said last week, I have to start this episode by acknowledging that I recently made a major life mistake. And if you are on youtube.com/@sharpening-arrows, you can see it right now. youtube.com/@sharpening-arrows. As I mentioned in the last episode, I usually keep my hair very short. I have done that for about 20 years. I have not grown my hair out for 2 decades, which means my wonderful, beautiful wife has never seen me with hair that's you can actually comb. And I had a busy couple of months, didn't cut my hair. And one day my wife looks over and says, Victor, your hair looks nice like that. Oh no. Oh no, I'm doomed. So now I have hair that actually has to be somewhat combed. That I wake up and I glance at the mirror as I'm walking past, and it's like, oh no, my hair in the back is sticking up. So there's another benefit of watching the YouTube channel. You can see how terrible my hair looks, but an act of true and selfless love for my wife. My hair is now not as short as it once was. And if that's not enough, you can also just watch and see me lose my hair over the coming months. I'm sure it's happening. So, all right, let's jump into today's topic. We are going to talk about AI in education. It is all the rage today. It's in many schools around the country just over the last 3 or 4 years, certainly in universities and colleges. So let's start with this question. And for those of you who are new to the show, we have these pause point questions where I encourage parents to, first of all, I encourage parents and teenagers or preteens to listen to the show together and then to stop the podcast and to discuss these questions. Because parents, you are your child's most important teacher. I guess I'm giving it the ending away here. It's not AI. It's not even me. It's you as a parent. So pause the podcast and discuss these questions. Here's the first one. Do you or your school use AI in education? Now, you may have had something jump to mind right there, even before you stopped to answer the question. Question 5 of the Great 8, those questions we put in our mental toolbox, should jump to mind. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by this term artificial intelligence? I think people generally have an idea that, oh, it's ChatGPT, it's any of these other large grok out there, these AI models. But let's give a little more formal definition before we start talking today. This is from Harvard Summer School. Artificial intelligence isn't a 21st century invention. Beginning in the 1950s, data scientists started programming computers to solve problems and understand spoken language. AI's capabilities grew as computer speeds increased, and today we use AI to organize data as well as to find patterns, provides insights into it. So that's already been going on. Think of a Google search for an example of that. But why the sudden popularity in recent applications like ChatGPT? Again, this is from Harvard Summer School. This new generation of AI, of artificial intelligence, goes further than just data analysis. Instead, generative AI creates new content. It does this by analyzing large amounts of data. GPT-3 was trained on 40 terabytes of data, or a quarter of the Library of Congress, and then generating new content based on the patterns it sees in the original data. It's like the predictive text feature on your phone. As you start typing a new message, predictive text makes suggestions of what should come next based on data from past conversations. Similarly, ChatGPT creates new text based on past data. With the right prompts, ChatGPT can write marketing content, computer code, business forecast, and even write entire academic essays on any subject within seconds. It's true. very fast. All right, so that's what we're talking about when we are using the term AI. We're talking about these programs that don't just you kind of add in, they actually create text, they create presentations, they create graphics or code in a way they weren't able to do even just a few years ago. So let's have another pause point. What is a benefit and a downside of using AI in education? I would really encourage you to think about that. I'm going to give my perspective here, but what is a pro and a con to this trend? All right, as we do on this show, we're going to start with arguments for the side that I personally disagree with. And it's important to do this, and it's important for you to challenge yourself in this way because there are good arguments for bad ideas. And the best way to understand those arguments, the best way to confront those arguments is to actually make them yourself. So, argument number one for using AI in education, it provides personal learning. Think about it. A teacher's in a classroom, 16, 20, 25 in a high school math class, maybe 40 or 50 students. You simply, one human being, simply can't give all of those students the direction and the attention that they need. Well, guess what? The robots can. AI can. This is how Science News Today describes it. One of the most exciting aspects of AI in education is its ability to deliver personalized learning experiences. Every student has a unique learning style, pace, and set of strengths and weaknesses. Traditional education systems often struggle to meet these individual needs due to class size, limited resources, and the one-size-fits-all approach. AI has the potential to change that. With AI-driven learning platforms, students can work through material at their own pace. For example, platforms like Coursera, Khan Academy, and Duolingo use AI to analyze the student's progress and offer tailored content, quizzes, and exercises. By tracking performance data in real time, AI can provide feedback and adapt lessons to suit the learner's level of understanding. For struggling students, it can offer more foundational materials, while for advanced learners, it can provide more challenging tasks. It can personalize it further. AI can detect patterns in students' learning behavior, help identify areas where they may be struggling or excelling. And this allows for a deeper understanding of each student's learning journey and can guide interventions before issues become more significant. Every parent wants their student to have personalized instruction, to have their own tutor. AI provides that. All right, argument number two for using AI in education. AI is everywhere, so students might as well learn how to use it. You can't fight AI. It's in the classroom. It's online. All of your students' peers are using it. So you can't beat them, join them. This is how Forbes describes it. The 2025 AI in Education Trends Report, conducted by CopyLeaks, was a survey of more than 1,100 U.S. students across two-year colleges, four-year universities, and graduate programs. And the report found that 90% of students have used AI academically, with nearly three-quarters saying their usage increased over the past year. And undoubtedly, that number is going to just continue to grow. It's already here. Wouldn't it be better to learn how to use AI, how to help it enhance learning? This is from Education Week. This is looking at, I believe, 6th through 12th graders. 85% of teachers and 86% of students used AI in the 2024-25 school year, according to a report from the nonprofit Center for Democracy and Technology. It's ubiquitous. It's here. So we need to get with the times and we need to provide instruction. Imagine if 25 years ago, you said, we shouldn't be using these search engines because that will degrade students' research skills. That's silly. That's ridiculous. What search engines have done, what AI is about to do, is enhance learning, providing more access, quicker access to information. And that's why it's so popular. Argument number three. You don't need to learn something if ChatGPT or Perplexity can do it for you. All right, here's a pause point. Do you know someone who's used AI to complete an assignment? Have you? Now, parents, I would encourage you to just listen here. And students, I'd encourage you to be honest. I always encourage you to be honest. But this is a good time to just talk, share what's happening. Because many students, as we just heard, have used AI to complete an assignment. And it's especially happening in colleges. Students have a paper due. Well, they plop in the prompt 5 minutes before the deadline, and boom, there's the paper. It's not cheating, it's a hack. The assignment was to produce a paper. The student produced a paper using the tools available to them. It's simply a more efficient use of time. Why would you waste time on something when ChatGPT can do it for you? I can walk to the store, but I drive to the store because it's faster. Same thing with education. I could write the paper, but I'll just do the fast route. I'll use ChatGPT. All right, let's have another pause point. Which of those arguments do you find the most convincing and why? Remember, we've got one, that AI provides personalized learning opportunities. Two, that AI is everywhere, so students might as well learn how to use it. And three, you don't need to learn something if ChatGPT already knows it. As you think about that, let me tell you about Mama Bear Prayers, a podcast for moms who are knee-deep in dishes and training their teens. Whether you are in the carpool lane or the coffee line, host Charity Rios wants to come alongside you and help you grow deeper in your relationship with Jesus. Now, as every parent knows, raising kids can feel a bit like a ping pong game. You bounce from moments of joy to moments of deepest concern. And AI doesn't have the answers. Combine that with the busyness of life, and this back and forth can leave you feeling overwhelmed and even isolated. As the mom of 4 very busy boys, Charity knows this firsthand, and it's why she created Mama Bear Prayers, to support moms who are on the journey of raising kids. God works through prayer, so check out Mama Bear Prayers. Great podcast. Check it out today. All right, let's have another pause point. Which of the great 8 questions would you apply to respond to these arguments? And just as a reminder, the great 8 questions are questions that we put in our mental toolbox so that when we encounter a topic that we don't know about, or even one that we do feel confident in, we can ask these questions to dig underneath the surface. Question 1, what happens next? Question 2, has this been tried before? Question 3, is there a principle involved? Question 4, what are the trade-offs? Question 5, what do you mean by that? We already used that one today. Question 6, is this an appeal to emotion or logic? Question 7, am I focused on the speaker or the argument? And question 8, what does the Bible say? All right, so remember, there's no one right answer here. Just because I select a certain question doesn't mean that your question was wrong. This is just the way that I would approach it. All right, so let's look at this personalized learning argument. And the question I would bring up here is question 4, what are the trade-offs? And trade-offs, if you need a refresher, are just the value of the next best opportunity. So if I do one thing, I can't do the other thing. And it doesn't mean that the thing that I give up is bad. For instance, if I'm going out to eat tonight, I can either go to Chick-fil-A or In-N-Out, and say I decide to go to In-N-Out, that doesn't mean that Chick-fil-A is bad or evil or that I don't like Chick-fil-A. It's just if I go to the drive-thru at In-N-Out, I'm not going to the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. And so I think that's what we have here when it comes to personalized learning, because I think there can be situations where that can be helpful if you are doing math problems. And boy, I'm really struggling with algebra. I'm really struggling with graphing. yeah, being able to have more of those questions directed to you, that's that's very helpful. That's that's terrific. That's a good use of AI. If you are looking for information, and AI can help you find the information, like a search engine helps you find information, that's helpful, right? We don't need to spend all our time looking for information. If there is a tool that can help us do it faster, like get to the store faster, that's great. But there's a difference between a tool helping us and then relying on the tool so much that we're just using the tool instead of our minds. Remember, your mind is a muscle, and so you have to think, is AI being used to help grow my muscle, or am I relying on AI to do the work and my muscle is actually atrophying and weakening? And so it's generally very helpful or important to have a teacher or parent there to supervise, and make sure that AI is being used in a way that is enhancing the student's learning, not not as a substitute for the student's learning. There's a difference between AI or a computer program or a teacher identifying, hey, I struggle with this type of problem, and oh, I'm turning in these types of problems that AI completed for me. So that's really important, especially in an issue like AI. There are lots of trade-offs, and it's important to acknowledge that sometimes we can like something about an issue or something like AI and still recognize concerns with it in other ways. Argument number two. Well, AI is everywhere, so you might as well learn how to use it. Okay. Well, it's certainly true that AI is becoming ubiquitous in education. You heard the statistics: 85 to 90% of students are using it. I've read stories about how professors are using AI to grade papers, which leads to the incredible absurdity of students spending $40,000 a year to have AI write papers that professors are using AI to grade. Which I think kind of exposes the tension here. What are you learning? Are you learning how to learn? Are you learning to develop your mind? Or are you substituting AI for that? Are you learning how the world works? Or are you learning how to punch in something into a keyboard and pretend that it's your own work? Because those are two very different things. This is from Education Week, and it found a new study from researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Wesleyan College, and the Massachusetts College of Art and Design found that giving writers free rein to use AI as much as they wanted led to some bleak outcomes. Participants, mostly undergraduate and graduate students who constructed essays with the assistance of ChatGPT, exhibited less brain activity during the task than those participants who were asked to write on their own. The AI users were much less likely to be able to recall what they had written and felt less ownership over the work. Independent evaluators who reviewed the essays found the AI supported ones to be lacking in individuality and creativity. But if participants wrote essays on their own first, then used AI to write on the same topics, the results changed. This group of writers showed an increase in brain activity. If writers spend time thinking about their topic and collecting their thoughts before turning to generative AI, it's possible they could benefit more from using the tool. Okay, so do you see what's happening there? Right? Is that what are we actually teaching? If AI is everywhere, and we have to acknowledge that something being everywhere doesn't make it right or a good idea. But if AI is everywhere, well, what are we actually learning from it? Because what this study shows and what we all know intuitively, if what you're learning is type the prompt into the ChatGPT, you're actually not learning anything. And here's the other thing, especially for teenagers and preteens, we need to stop pretending that we have to give this like real long, formal, and structured training in AI. Oh no, if we don't teach them how to use AI, how will they ever learn how to use AI? I don't know, because they're teenagers and because they're around it all the time, and all their friends are doing it, and you leave them alone with it for 5 minutes and they know more than the 42-year-old parent. Yes, all of that is true. You don't need a big long course. We need to stop pretending that AI is this really big and huge thing that has to be taught. No, it's a tool, and the kids will pick it up just fine. All right, and here's the third argument. You don't need to do it if ChatGPT already knows how to do it. Okay, I'm actually going to leave us at a little bit of a cliffhanger here, because I think what this argument sets up is the argument I'm going to make in the next episode, which is, what is the purpose of education? So let's have a pause point right there. What is the purpose of education? Because on one side, you have this idea of, well, ChatGPT already knows more about the Civil War, already knows more about the atoms in the periodic table than I do. It already knows more about mice and men than I do. So ChatGPT can do it. And on the other side, we have this idea of there being a deeper purpose to education. And that's what we're going to get into in our next episode, is what the purpose is of education. So I encourage you to discuss that question. I will leave you with that, and then we will come back on our next episode and talk just about that, about what the purpose is of education, and then see if AI is compatible with that. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe on YouTube or send a text to a friend. Let them know about this tool to help them train their teens to think biblically about life and politics. Be courageous like Charlie, stay sharp, and give God the glory. I'll see you next time.